Welcome to today's lesson on the control of blood glucose concentration, where we will explore the vital mechanisms that maintain glucose levels within a healthy range in our bloodstream. In our roadmap for today, we will delve into why it is essential to maintain regular glucose levels, given that sufficient glucose is needed for cellular respiration, but excessive glucose can be dangerous. We will then examine the role of insulin, produced by the pancreas, in converting glucose into insoluble glycogen for storage in the liver when blood glucose levels are too high. After this, we will learn how glucagon works to convert glycogen back into glucose when blood glucose levels are too low. We'll finish the lesson by understanding how insulin and glucagon participate in a negative feedback cycle to keep blood glucose levels stable. So far, you have learned about the concept of homeostasis and the functioning of various hormones, such as adrenaline. This knowledge provides a foundation for understanding how the body regulates internal conditions to maintain a stable internal environment. Expanding on this understanding, today's lesson will show how the regulation of blood glucose levels is a critical component of homeostasis. By grasping this concept, we will learn how our body maintains balance and ensures our cells have the energy they need while avoiding the dangers of high blood sugar levels. Let's get started. To start, let's understand why blood glucose regulation is vital for our bodies. Every cell in our body requires glucose to produce energy through a process called cellular respiration. Without sufficient glucose, cells cannot function properly, affecting everything from muscle movement to brain activity. However, maintaining glucose in a narrow range is essential. Too much glucose in the bloodstream can be dangerous and lead to conditions like hyperglycemia. On the other hand, too little glucose, known as hypoglycemia, can result in fatigue, confusion, and even loss of consciousness. Blood glucose levels can change throughout the day based on various activities. For instance, consuming foods, especially those rich in carbohydrates, raises blood glucose levels as they are broken down into glucose and absorbed from the gut into the bloodstream. Regular metabolism also affects blood glucose levels as our body continuously uses glucose for energy, which naturally lowers blood glucose levels. Additionally, activities that require a lot of energy, like running or lifting weights, significantly reduce blood glucose levels. The pancreas is the organ responsible for monitoring and regulating blood glucose levels. It does this through two hormones, insulin and glucagon. When the pancreas detects that blood glucose levels are too high, it releases insulin. Insulin has several key functions. Firstly, insulin allows cells to take in glucose from the bloodstream, where it can be used for cellular respiration and energy production. The other key function is conversion into glycogen. This is when excess glucose is converted into glycogen, a stored form of glucose, in the liver and muscles. Glycogen is insoluble, making it an efficient storage substance that keeps glucose from building up in the blood. Conversely, when blood glucose levels are too low, the pancreas secretes glucagon. Glucagon has a very different function. Glucagon signals the liver to convert stored glycogen back into glucose, which is then released into the bloodstream. This process raises blood glucose levels back to a normal range. The actions of insulin and glucagon form a negative feedback cycle, a critical concept in homeostasis. This cycle helps maintain blood glucose levels within a narrow range. Here's how it works. When blood glucose levels rise, the pancreas secretes insulin, promoting glucose uptake by cells and glycogen storage, reducing blood glucose levels. When blood glucose levels fall, the pancreas releases glucagon, which causes glycogen to be broken down into glucose, raising blood glucose levels. As you can see, when the pancreas detects that the blood glucose level is too high or too low, it will release the right hormone, insulin or glucagon, to return blood glucose back to normal levels. This shows a negative feedback cycle as fluctuation in blood glucose level triggers the body to return it to normal levels. In today's lesson, we discuss the importance of maintaining regular glucose levels in the bloodstream. We learn that glucose is essential for cellular respiration, providing energy for our body's cells. However, both too much and too little glucose can be harmful. High blood glucose levels can be dangerous, leading to various health issues. We examined how the body manages blood glucose levels using hormones produced by the pancreas. When blood glucose levels are too high, the pancreas releases insulin. Insulin helps to lower glucose levels by converting glucose into an insoluble form called glycogen, which is stored in the liver. This process ensures that excess glucose is safely stored away, preventing potential damage to the body. Conversely, when blood glucose levels are too low, the pancreas releases another hormone called glucagon. Glucagon converts the stored glycogen back into glucose, which is then released into the bloodstream to raise glucose levels to a normal range. We also covered the concept of a negative feedback cycle, which is crucial for maintaining homeostasis. Insulin and glucagon work in a negative feedback loop to ensure that blood glucose levels remain within a safe and optimal range. When blood glucose levels deviate from the norm, these hormones are released to bring the levels back to a stable state. Understanding these processes highlights the importance of the pancreas and the roles of insulin and glucagon in regulating blood glucose levels. By grasping these concepts, we can better appreciate how the body maintains balance and responds to changes in blood glucose concentration.